are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Hey guys, welcome to the Marriage Adventure Podcast. We're so glad you're here with us because we're talking about something I think every couple can relate to. And if you're like me and it's putting off something in your marriage that you know needs attention.
Yeah, and this one hits a little bit close to home for me because for 5 years, so we've lived here at the farm for 5 years, and I've been talking about doing something for 5 years and just have not gotten to it. And we've done all this renovation of the barn.
There's several things we've been talking about doing for 5 years and have never gotten around to it.
But so when we moved in, like the first week, we had to do something right away at the beginning, at the front of the house, because the front yard was mostly mud right at the steps. When you would walk off the porch, it was just muddy when it would rain. And
previous owners had two. I just came out of a yawn. Sorry about that. Previous owners had 2 big dogs or 3 big dogs and 3 little kids, and they just, they kind of lived in that front yard.
Yes.
And when it rained, it just,
So it was a muddy mess. So like I remember the first week we were there, we got the kids out and we made a walkway with pebbles to keep the mud down, and that was great. However, along the front of the house, there is a very long flower bed. I call it a flower bed, but it's not. There are no flowers in it.
No.
There's nothing in it, and the mulch is old, and I don't even know. But it looks awful, and it's bothered me for so long. And we've done so many beautification projects down at our little farm retreat area, and it just looks so great down here where we are at the barn today recording. And every time I would look at the front flower beds, I'm like, for 5 years. Yeah. But for one reason or another, we just didn't do it.
And you looked at him and went, I just stopped looking at him.
Yeah.
I never really, it's kind of like other things in your house. It's kind of like if you ever sold a house and right before you sell it, you fix all the things that you've lived with and just stopped looking at. And that's kind of the way, this was. And so how did you come about to finally make the decision?
So this week, Josie and I were sitting in the front yard, and I just said, these flower beds look awful. I just said it out loud, and she said, well, Mama, why don't you fix them? And I said,
what do you mean?
Well,
what does that mean?
That's fix them. I know. Well, I don't know. Every time I think about it, it just gets overwhelming. It's too much. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just going to cost too much money and time. And she's like, how much? And I started doing the math. I'm like, well, really, that's not a lot. It's just the effort to put it in to do it. She said, I'll help you. Let's just do it.
But think about how many other things have you done and we done that takes that kind of effort.
Yes, a lot, and probably less effort, because it was just a matter of designing it and getting a plan together. So Josie, being a 16-year-old girl, takes a picture of the front of the house. She puts it in Chat GPT, and I'm like...
Which is Earl.
Earl. She said, well, let's just see what Earl says. And I said, well, tell it I need shade plants because it's mostly shaded. She puts it in there, and it comes out with a whole plan.
Sure.
With all the plants I need to put in there.
Earl knows what he's doing when it comes to plants.
These will handle mostly shade, and I'm like, well, I don't like this particular look, and it just reworks it. She shows me a picture. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. And she said, let's do it. I'll help you. So you went with me. We got all the plants and the mulch and the stuff. And yesterday she was working, so she didn't help me.
She didn't help you, but she did give you the gumption.
She gave me the inspiration to get going on it. And Colby did. He helped me. He dug like 12 holes for me, and he got out there with me, and it looks great.
It does.
It took about
6 hours.
Yes, about 6 hours, and I've been wanting to do it for 5 years.
Yep. 6 hours. And as soon as it was done, it completely changed the way the front of the house looks and feels.
And the way I feel.
And the way you feel.
Yes.
And that's what we're most thankful for.
Yeah.
And yep.
And that's when we both kind of had the same thought. This is exactly what couples do in their marriage.
Yeah. We stare at the same issues over and over, the same disconnect, whatever it is. And we should probably work on that.
Yeah.
Right? For years we do that.
And the truth is, if we would just decide to do the work, usually it's not that hard. And it doesn't take quite as long as we thought.
Yeah, I tell couples all the time, I'm like, listen, you're going to live the next 6 months anyway. Why not do something that's going to change the next 20 years?
Yeah.
in that 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to wake up in 6 months and still be here and be like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Still looking
didn't
at the
do that.
same daggum flower bed.
That's right. And so today we're talking about why we delay doing the work in our marriage and how one decision can start to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. So here's the question. What is the flower bed in your marriage?
Mm-hmm.
We all have them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's communication issues. Maybe it's a lack of intimacy. Maybe you just kind of feel like roommates, or it's unresolved tension, or maybe it's a lack of safety and connection and friendship, or maybe it's a spiritual issue.
Yeah.
Maybe the foundation of your marriage, that spiritual foundation, is not there.
Or maybe it's a conversation you need to have about being on the same page with parenting. You just keep walking around it and avoiding it. Like, yeah, we need to get around to having that conversation. And little Timmy is turning out terrible.
Terrible Timmy.
Yeah.
If you're listening today and your kid's Timmy, we're sorry.
Yeah.
But yep, it's what we do. And you think about all the hard stuff you've done over the past few years while just kind of looking at that. You know, I have the same thing. You want to hear my thing that really took less than 6 hours? It took 1 hour.
Yeah.
It was putting vapor barrier under the house.
Yeah.
So for 5 years, Bonnie's, been reminding me, hey, we need to put a vapor barrier. Most all of our house had it, but there's a new section that a previous owner had built, the master bedroom. And for some reason, he just didn't put a vapor barrier under there. And I was like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to do that. Who wants to crawl under the house, right?
But you even bought the stuff.
Yeah, so after 4 years, I bought the vapor barrier. Got online. I'm like, I'm just going to go on and buy it, because if I go on and buy it, then I'll go on and do it. And it comes in the box, and I set it out underneath the tree behind the house, right there by the garage. And I thought, well, good, I'll set it right here and I'll get to it. It sat underneath that tree for a year. A year.
Well,
the box was disintegrating.
Yeah.
And listen, don't judge me. You all have things like this you've done.
Absolutely, for sure.
And then finally, I think Colby and I were going to start on a project down here, and I got to thinking, I cannot start another project and not put that vapor barrier. Bonnie's probably thinking, you better daggum put the vapor barrier on. And
but
so
I didn't say
you did not say a word.
Nope.
But now that 30 years in, we share a brain, I caught the waves.
Right,
I caught the waves. And so Colby and I go underneath the house. It literally took 30 minutes, and it was done. And then I put in a little vent fan to pull, some air through underneath the house, and that might have taken 30. So an hour. And it was done, and I put it off for 5 years.
Yeah, but sometimes over time, when we just walk around stuff like that thing sat out by the tree for a year, but it becomes part of the landscape. We just start normalizing.
I literally thought it was the tree.
Right,
eventually.
right.
It's like, that's a pretty tree.
Yeah.
It grew a box.
But like that, in our marriage, over time, we just kind of normalize what's not healthy.
Yes.
Yep.
So let's break this down into 3 simple barriers for you, right? So the question,
why we don't do this?
Yeah, why we don't. The question is, what's the flower bed in your marriage? And maybe you're already thinking of it. Maybe you're thinking of it. And so one reason why we don't do it is I think we look at it and it feels bigger than it is. It's just like, I don't want to crawl underneath the house and put down a vapor barrier.
I don't even know what plants to put together in the shade then I got to dig all those holes, and I don't even. There's math and how many feet involved between each shrub, and it just feels a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, and so we build it up mentally. This is going to be hard, but it's going to take forever. That kind of thing. So I think that's one barrier. So here's another. We don't know where to start.
Yep.
So we do nothing. And confusion, just analysis leads to paralysis, right?
I'm queen of that. I overanalyze something thinking it's got to be perfect before I even get started on it.
Yeah, I'm not so much that. For me, done is better than good. Wait, perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
No, I slaughtered that. Done is better than perfect, right? But for you do you're a perfectionist, and you do want things kind of done the right way and perfect, and so you'll analyze it before you get started. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's your thing. We don't know where to start, so we just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I think another thing is we just get comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, the kids have all the stuff they got to do,
Yeah.
and they've got their stuff, and well, kids come first, and that's a lie, and so.
But
shouldn't.
that is a big thing that we think if, we've got to. Oh gosh, who would keep the kids if we tried to go? Like couples delay putting big work into their marriage because it's like, well, then who's gonna look out for the kids? We can't. We don't have time a sitter for that, or or even just doing the date night every now and then. That costs too much money, but we spend a lot of money on the kids.
Yeah, and I had a couple here this past week for an intensive, and we were doing a parenting thing, and she asked, a really good, honest question. She said, if we put each other first and work on this, which they were because they came for intensive, how's that going to make the kids feel to know that they're second, and otherwise will that make them feel left out? And I said, you know what, it's because it's God's design. It's a marvelous thing that they don't.
Yeah.
Now listen, if you're locking in their room for days and you're not feeding them, then yes, they're gonna feel it. But kids' world is the foundation. Their parents' marriage. And so you think back to when your parents argued. How did that make you feel, right? What you laughing at?
I remember my parents did not argue in front of us much, but I remember one time I was in the back seat of the car and my parents were bickering about something, which was very rare. We never heard them fight. And I remember the three of us sitting in the back seat started bawling. They're going to get a divorce. They're going to get a divorce. I felt like my world was falling apart because my parents were having one argument. And I remember that feeling now of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because I knew one person in my life whose parents were divorced. I'm like, and we won't get to see daddy or we won't get to see mom. I remember one major argument.
And so many kids go right there.
Yeah.
I remember my parents, they rarely had arguments, but I remember one time they had this knockdown drag out over an issue, and they were yelling from the next room, and that happened. Like I can count a couple times on my hand that happened, maybe twice, and I felt the same thing. I mean, I'm laying in my bed, my world's falling apart.
Yeah.
And so let's flip that.
Yeah.
What would it do for your kids if your kids saw an incredibly healthy marriage and parents that are madly in love and taking the time to go on date nights and invest in their relationship? Those kids aren't going to feel negative.
No.
They're going to feel protected and safe, and it's just God's way. So you don't have to worry about that.
No.
You don't have to worry.
It has a way of working itself out.
Absolutely. That's the word I was looking for. It absolutely does.
Yep.
So, delay is, so we've talked about why we don't do these things. Delay is rarely about difficulty. It really is. It's about decision. I mean, we do intensives here, and in 3 days, listen, we're not solving 30 years of issues, but man, when couples leave a 3-day intensive, they feel hopeful. They feel like they have the resources to fix this, and if they go back and continue to do the work, they can. But in 3 days, they're like, gosh, we have accomplished so much in 3 days.
Well, it's kind of like Josie giving me the plan.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's my problem with this. And she's like, well, she put it in ChatGPT and, oh, look, just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So when they come here, you're just kind of like, all right, it's an outside person looking at it going, this really isn't that complicated. Just do it.
Yeah.
And it's giving them the plan to do it.
Yeah. And usually in marriage, the biggest thing is just dying to ourselves and just stop being. Usually, at the end of the day, the answer is usually, let's just stop being selfish and live for your spouse. So what is the power of just that one decision? That one decision, you didn't gradually fix the flower bed.
No.
You decided.
Yep. Gonna do it. Gonna do it.
And I had no idea. I mean, you didn't share that Josie story with me until that morning. You were like, I got to go to Lowe's. And blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute, I need something from Lowe's. And you were like, well, I was like, well, let's go together. And then you said, I'm redoing the flower beds. I was like, oh.
I need your truck because I got a lot of stuff
That's
home.
right. You fill it in the back of the truck.
Yep.
So typically, and man, this is so powerful. Momentum comes after action, not before.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I remember that TV show, The Biggest Loser.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to think, why would these 500-pound, 600-pound people get on TV and take off their shirt? Well, something got them off the couch, and it was probably a doctor saying, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see your kids or your grandkids. And so what they did was they called 1-800-biggestloser.com.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Right, that was a telephone number and a website
Right.
in one. And they got on the TV and they did it. And they're like, I have to do something drastic. And so that's
just making that decision.
That's right.
But we don't want you guys, if you're listening to this, to just keep walking around this and looking at it and being like, I'm never. This is one of those things you need to jump in now and just make the decision to fix it before you can't.
Yeah. I mean, it can be one conversation, one date night, one honest moment, one step towards counseling or help. You know, so clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity comes because of action. So just make the decision. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And you know, it goes. Yeah, I remember back in December. Man, I all last year, I don't know. We never used to eat much sweets until we got kids, and now with kids you celebrate everything, and there's always everything. And so I remember back in December, I ate my weight, you know, with all Christmas and everything, in sugar and sweets.
Easy to do. There's lots of yummy stuff.
Oh my gosh! And I couldn't. Last year, I just could not surrender that area under control of the Holy Spirit, and it was definitely an addiction. And it really wasn't about weight. I mean, listen, who doesn't want to lose a few pounds? But it was more about just the surrendering that to the Holy Spirit. And so I remember, you know, New Year's is a great time to make resolutions and start new things. And so I said, Father, I'm going to give you this, and I'm going on a fast. And so just went on a sweets fast. And now it's 4 months later, right? And still going. And that's because
5 months.
5 months, that's right. It came because of action, right? Just, Father, I'm giving this to you. I'm not doing this. And you jumped on that with me, which is, you know, very encouraging. Sorry you had to do that. But you didn't have to, but thank you. And so sometimes it's literally just, it's like getting out of the bed to work out in the morning. I don't feel like it. Just get out.
Yep.
Just get out of the bed.
That's the first step.
Press play.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be glad you did.
Yep.
I hate it while I'm working out, but I'm so glad afterwards.
Well, and a lot of times that one thing, it doesn't take as long as you think.
No.
Most couples are thinking, well, this is going to take months or years to put this thing back together. But a lot of times breakthroughs start quickly when you're both engaged in it.
Yeah.
You can have a quick breakthrough if you're both saying, okay, we're just going to do this. I'm tired of things being like this. I'm tired of it. And, you know, it's like, it's not worth it staying like this anymore. Let's just do this thing. And then once you make that decision, breakthroughs seem to come a lot faster than you think they will if you're both engaged in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, a simple communication shift can change so much. And maybe it's just an intentional habit, like, you know, going to bed at the same time and connecting, like we talked about on the last episode, or date night, or different things like that. But it's just one simple shift. So here's the question. What's your flower bed? Right? What's the thing that you've been walking around in your marriage? You can probably pick out 10 in your house. But in your marriage relationship, what's the thing that you guys have just kind of gotten used to? We talk about drift a lot, right? What's the one thing that you've drifted on that you've never, you know, really changed?
But you know it needs to be addressed. You know that it's something that's not healthy in your relationship, that it's not leading you to connection or good communication or intimacy. It's the thing you both know needs attention. It's probably already in your mind right now. And you know what? Your spouse might have something different in mind. But
it's true.
It might be more than one thing.
That's right. So name it together, and then set aside time this week to talk about it, and then take action. Just do it. Sign up for the counseling. Sign up for for an intensive. Get in the Bible study, the small group at church, or plan.
Or put a date night on the calendar.
Grab your calendar, and we do that. Every Wednesday night is our date night, and then every quarter we get away, and we have that. We have that on the calendar for the rest of the year. And go on and book it. Pay money for the Airbnb, because if you pay money, it's on the calendar, you're going to do it. You're going to work around it. Yep. And so just do it before you think about it. Amazon has the buy now button.
Yeah.
And why did Amazon add the buy now button? To take away that
rational
1% chance that you're going to have some rational thought and not buy that thing. Mm-hmm. And so, no longer do you have to go down to the store. No longer do you even have to put it in your cart. You can just hit buy now. Mm-hmm. So hit buy now on this decision. Mm-hmm. Just go on and do it. You don't need a full renovation. You just need to start digging holes and buying the plants.
Mm-hmm. So here's the question that we want to leave you with today. What's your flower bed? What's the thing in your marriage that you've been looking at and talking about, maybe even praying about, but not actually doing anything about?
Yeah, because chances are, guys, it's not going to take as long as you think. And God will multiply efforts. I have seen that. When we take action in obedience to things, He multiplies our timeline and our efforts and our finances. But it's going to take a decision. Mm-hmm. And listen, you don't have to fix everything this week. Mm-hmm. You don't have to solve your entire marriage overnight. But think about it. If you can make that area 50% better, it's gonna feel like 75. Mm-hmm. You can take one step.
You can have one conversation or one date, one moment, honestly, and that one step can begin to change everything. And if you need help taking that step, that's exactly why we do what we do through Christian marriage coaching and our marriage adventure resources. Yep.
So we'd love to walk with you in that process. And so if that's your issue, like and subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe there. Every Monday, I put out weekly marriage coaching videos. This podcast comes out every Wednesday, and then also on our website, we have courses that you can do at home if you feel like, I think that's something we'd like to do, and you can do it at home together in privacy. Or if you feel like, we want to make a transformational investment in our marriage, check out our marriage intensives. Come here to the farm, hang out with us for 3 days, and man, let's see what God has for you. We'd love to walk with you through that. So thanks for being with us today. And remember, every marriage is an adventure, and it's worth the work.
We are all